Welcome to NC Spin After Spin. Additional comments from our panelists just available on our website at ncspin.com. Question to one, tell us something that you weren't able to say on the program that you wish you'd had a chance to say. Start with Chris Fitzsimons.
Well, we talked about the shrinking middle class, and we talked about the need for jobs, but people aren't talking enough about what kind of jobs are coming to North Carolina. One of my concerns is that a lot of the jobs that are being created are low-paying jobs that are replacing middle-class paying jobs that people used to have in a factory or used to have at even at some of our tech places. Those people are being laid off or laid off during the recession. The jobs they are getting pay 40, 50, 60% of what they were making, and some of them barely have benefits. So part of restoring the middle class is not just creating jobs, it's creating the right kind of jobs that pay some kind of decent wages.
Phil Kirk.
Creating new jobs and on that topic will be a key test for the new economic development partnership. And what they're able to do with mega sites and with trying to get an automotive industry into North Carolina, I think that's going to be a big test of how effective, and it won't happen in a month or two.
I mean, you know the government inside and out. You've worked in it, former chief of staff. You've worked with the business community. How would you say the transition right now with commerce, with Secretary Decker and what she's doing, moving that bureaucracy into the status, the sort of the quasi-public sector, private sector, how's that going?
I haven't heard a great deal about it, except that it's taken a lot longer than people thought, but they didn't get the legislative authority until not too long ago. But as far as I know, it's going fairly smoothly, and I think the new office will be up and running within a week or so.
So there's still a lot. There's still question marks still out there.
Yes, and I don't know exactly what the relationship will be between Secretary Decker and the new head of it. She hired him.
Right.
So it ought to be pretty good.
Cash Michaels, what did you not get a chance to say?
Hey, I've been impressed with how polite the Hagan-Tillis Senate race has been. I've been really exactly. And I think that Tillis is in a better position to get mean and nasty and brutal much quicker than she is. As I said before, he's taking her apart with the question, well, do you remember anything that she's done, anything that she's accomplished, any bill, any law, any bill that she's sponsored that's become law? And people are scratching their heads and asking that question. I'm not suggesting that he's correct. I'm simply saying it's a question that since most people don't pay attention to, then they're not going to know the answer. My question is fine. How does the Hagan campaign hit back and do so in a way that speaks to his record in a forceful fashion so that whatever lead she has, she holds on to it? I haven't seen her get tough on this yet, and I'm wondering if she's even capable of doing it.
Well, here's the question. Does the campaign intensify? Do the negative attacks on both sides intensify as we head down to the final weeks?
This is North Carolina. We have a Jesse Helms tradition here, and this Senate race is going to fall into that tradition sooner or later. Right. And with just 4 weeks out, it's probably going to be sooner than later.
The first going to be flying. John Hood.
We talked about the Senate race a fair amount, about legislative races, even mentioned county commission, but it's important not to gloss over the fact that we do have a very likely Republican pickup in the 7th Congressional District, David Rouser taking over a seat that had been held by Mike McIntyre. We're not talking about that because it seems to be a foregone conclusion, but it's part of a national trend. The Republicans were supposed to just sort of break even or maybe gain a couple of seats. It's now looking like they might do a lot better than that across the country. The 7th District pickup is one of those. They might pick up a dozen seats or more, which would put them in pretty high numbers in Republican history of delegations to the U.S. House. Now, of course, we know in North Carolina the trends aren't so clearly Republican elsewhere, but in the rest of the country, the last couple of weeks have seen a pretty marked shift in the Republicans' direction.
One question that I didn't get a chance to ask that I wanted to ask you, the Chief Justice race for the Supreme Court between Mark Martin and Ola Mae Lewis. What do you see in there? Any trend lines, anything we need to be paying attention to?
I think there is going to be there will be some expenditures made by the campaign to make sure that Mark Martin wins. I think most people assume that he's going to win, and the real question is, can the Republicans compete down the ballot in the rest of those Supreme Court races, particularly Jimmy Ervin and Robert Hunter seems to be a competitive race, and then Eric Levinson trying to take out Robin Hudson. Those are races that have just not been getting much attention, and a lot of these campaigns don't have a lot of money to spend, and when you've got millions of dollars being spent on the Senate races, it's kind of hard to get your voice heard.
Absolutely. I will say this, Ola Mae Lewis is one heck of a retail politician. She really is something, and should be applauded for entering a race. that's a tough race for sure. Thank you for watching the After Spin at NC Spin. For more video all during the week, tune in to ncspin.com. Individual panelist questions will be coming up and will be available, so keep in touch with NC Spin throughout the week. We're on Facebook and at NC Spin Tweets.